like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. We've got Sonny Hobbs already in here with us tonight, Colin Brown, and myself, Roger Brehm, and his dad, Scott, hanging in the back corner.
in the corner.
Just out of view.
We're going to call that the smart ass corner.
I am the smart ass. Yeah. From the cheap seats.
The cheap seats, all right. So anywho, that looks really strange tonight, but oh well. It'll have to do. We're gonna spend a little time with you tonight. First, we're going to start out with some of the racing news. Did you watch any of the racing over this past weekend?
I hardly watched any race, and I was wrapped up in my own.
Well, that's correct. She was out running in the modified division at Langley Speedway. They had two, what was it?
Twin 30s.
Twin 30s.
Saturday night. Yeah.
And second race, you got a little bit extra air conditioning, I remember, on the car.
I did. Yeah, I did. Lost a little bit of sheet metal.
Made you lighter, and you drove cooler. Do you feel that really helped you at all?
No, I mean, what happened really was it kind of knocked the toe out on the front end, and the car wasn't really right after that. But it didn't slow us down too much. I could just tell a difference in my right arm at the end of the race. So.
Look, it's only 30 laps.
Right.
Yeah, thank goodness. Let me tell you, lose power steering on a 100-lapper out there.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. But anywho, we had the Pocono race started out. A lot of early crashes, really strange ones.
Yeah, then it got boring after that.
Yeah, then I took my nap and then
I started watching golf after that.
We flipped it off with 3 laps to go. When Logano ran out of gas, we turned it off. Like, I ain't watching this. And then I was like, after like 30 seconds, I was like, go back. Everybody else is running out of gas. Maybe he's going to run out of gas.
And too. Sure enough.
Hi, Mechanicsville. We see you.
So, I saw Truex running out of gas, and then I just wasn't sure it was going to happen. And then Kyle slowed on the back, I guess somewhere, one of the straightaways on the triangle. So anyway, it went from being a bad race to a good race all of a sudden.
Tony got a top 10.
Yeah, everybody moved up 3 spots at the end of the race because the 3 cars up front died.
Junior spun out, and he still ended up finishing 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was at the beginning, like I said, it was really strange when
Casey Kane hit the pit wall.
Right.
Yeah.
I
think they're going to be making some improvements to the track. I'm not sure the metal pit wall is going to fly anymore. Like a guardrail type wall they have for pit wall.
Sheet metal and launch into the wall.
I'm not sure that's going to fly anymore.
Well, the first one, they had the one the day before in practice.
Jeb
hit that one, but it wasn't. Well, it did hit the actual cement section of the wall, not the.
Yeah, that's right. He hit it a little more towards the entry of the pit road than where Casey Kane wound up. He was further down.
Well, see, you really can't do much more to keep them from coming across, because if they spin out and come across, you still have to have an opening there for pit road. So.
Yeah, they're talking about extending the outside. It would still be the inside wall of the track, but the outside wall of pit road, maybe extending that further down to maybe shut that off a little bit. I don't know.
They were showing some old pit road rides. They showed the one where Mark Martin hit that wall, and the wall and went and lodged inside of his race car. No, that wreck in Michigan.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been bad news for Mark if that had been his
Just
door.
A few more inches.
His driver door.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least something exciting happened early in the race.
Yeah. 20-minute red flag.
Yeah.
Well, Aquafina got some good money out of it.
Did you see the helmets when they hit the wall?
That was crazy.
Yeah, one went up about 20 feet.
Oh,
I think there was something else that went flying. I'm not sure what it was besides the helmets. I think people were kind of getting nailed with, I don't know if it was like tools or something. Something went flying.
Usually the guys will leave their ratchet, their wrench. Lug wrench, whatever we'll call it. Air gun.
Air
gun. Sitting there on top of the thing.
This is a racing show. We don't know what it's called.
Sounds like.
You know that thing.
It makes that like really loud screechy noise when you pull the trigger.
But yeah, I mean, you got to figure out, okay, which one do I use? The actual name of it, a pneumatic air gun or air gun or whatever. Lug nut changer outer. And throw her back on her.
The Jackman for Brad Keselowski got a good profile picture.
Yeah.
He got a new profile.
Oh yeah, nice to have a
Tire carrier around the Jackman. Yeah.
They have the Jackman pretty good.
Yeah, they got
a
postage stamp on their forehead.
But he was a camper, got his butt up, jumped around there, got the car up.
Yeah.
But
I bet those guys will move a lot faster now, won't they? Yeah.
Well, if you got Brad to stop where he's supposed to.
Well, I'm just saying. You know, I bet the times are really going to go down now.
He's going to say, "Oh, my name is Dale Earnhardt Jr. My brakes failed."
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
They only fail when you're on the track.
Yeah,
they don't fail when you're on pit road.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. We won't go into there. What else we want to point out about the racing? Iowa was a good race.
Iowa was a fun race. How about Ryan Reed at the end of the race? What happened with that? Him and the 4. Did you see what happened after the race?
I knew there was a little bumping and.
Was there a fight?
There was about to be a fight after the race.
There's a little bit of altercation. Ready to kick.
Yeah, Ryan Reed, I think, got out of his car, went over and just shoved the.
Oh, that's right.
Ross Chastain when he was climbing out of the car, just walked over there and shoved him.
I like how both still had their helmet on. That was, that was smart.
Yeah.
Number 1 rule.
Yeah. Never take it off.
That's right. Go ahead.
You only need to learn that lesson once.
When we go out to supper, I will tell you my story about what happened out at Langley one night.
Okay.
But anywho, anything else that popped out in your mind about the race other than it was a decent race? Of the races that were run, it was probably the better one out there.
Iowa were the trucks there also?
Brad and Matt Crafton got into it in the truck race at Pocono.
Yeah.
Let's see, Iowa.
Well, I didn't see enough of the
female race car driver. Her name is Sunny Hobbs. She's run in the Lamborghini series. Let me spit that out there. And she is now trying to test out running in the modifieds in NASCAR. So she got her feet really wet Saturday night at Langley Speedway.
Right.
2 more races at Langley. She's going down to Bowman Gray.
Bowman Gray. All right, Bowman Gray.
Yeah, they'll give her the express course on.
Now the Langley modifieds, are they pretty much close to the Southern modifieds, or the Southern modifieds got a little bit more oomph?
I think they've got a little bit more oomph. Like I was saying earlier before we even started, we were talking racing, and the modifieds are new to me. You know, I come from more of a late model background. So that's one of the things I like about them is the oomph. They're lighter and they have more horsepower and they have less tire. So it's a handful. It's a real challenge.
Dirt tracking on asphalt.
Well, tell you what.
You're right.
Go ahead, reintroduce yourself.
Okay.
Take and do a bit of a bio about yourself, how you started in racing, where you at now, what you've done, what you're hoping to do.
Okay.
And then Colin's going to take over and do a little Q&A with you. I'm going into the other room because I need to text some people.
Hey, Roger, live? 708?
Yeah, heck
so
yeah. He's been live. What do you think we're
been live. About? Just press the power button. That's all you got to do.
You think the show hasn't started when
I never saw it on the screen.
Just chit-chatting.
Yeah, I never saw it on the screen.
And Sonny's trying to give her bio, and you're worried about when do we start.
Really, I'll tell you.
Well, I can give it to you
Did you get your powder on tonight?
It's cutting my head off. What's with that?
It's just because I have it bigger than the screen can actually do. We do ours in high def. And because the software
that keeps you from getting nervous when you really can't see it. You know, everything.
Well, actually, if you look in the upper left corner, you'll see yourself. Actually, that's what is going out.
Got it. Okay.
And if I told you, you could actually watch on your phone at the same time.
No, that was too confusing. We had this conversation earlier about social media. I'm maxed out.
We're going to give you some. I'll give you some tips on social media later. Also,
we can definitely see the Let's Talk Racing hats. I mean,
that's getting
they're in full view. So if you needed a little PR there you go.
Gotta do it.
Okay. So I'm going to give you my bio.
Yeah.
My bio is that I started racing at Southside Speedway in the Charger division, which is like super streets or street tracks at Langley. And I kind of got into racing on fluke, you know, so I wasn't super serious about it, but got totally hooked. And started racing a late model truck at Southern National, which was like the Townsend Racing Products prototype late model truck. So it was before anybody was racing trucks. So I raced down there for a couple of years and then got into late models and started racing you know, around Virginia, South Boston, and Old Dominion and places like that, Southampton. And then moved to North Carolina, got a little bit more serious, raced at some tracks down there, primarily Caraway, raced there for a couple seasons. And that kind of led into getting to know some other teams. You know, you're in North Carolina, so networking and racing down there. There's a lot of people. And so that led to some ARCA races, and which kicked off at Daytona, which was an awesome experience, but very different from what I had been doing, you know, on short tracks. So love that, and did a couple of those, and then we kind of ran out of budget. But did a dash race, if you remember the Dash Series, race at Toyota, Kentucky Speedway. Okay. At the same time, I got introduced to road course racing, so I was doing some sports car stuff. And if you can imagine me going from like Southside Speedway, a third of a mile, like flat track, and then going to another track. It's like a 4-hour night endurance race where I'm going left and right. But it was great. I loved it. It was fun. It was different. And we did really well. So I continued to do a little bit of that as time went on, and raced at a lot of the road courses on the East Coast too. Okay, nice. Some spec series, and so I've been doing
How many years has that?
I don't know.
Since you started,
added it all up.
Really? That's awesome though. That's a lot of
quite
variety of different series and a lot of track times. So
every car is different. Every series is different. All the tracks are different. I mean, with the road racing, I mean, you could race at night. You could do I've done 12-hour events. I've raced in the rain. You know, so the experience doesn't necessarily translate from one car series to the other, but it's all about car control and building your book up.
So just for about that long, and I started to feel sorry for you about the modified series, because it was only like your second or third race there.
No.
I mean, that should be another piece of cake for you.
Well, it's my second race after a long gap, right? Okay. So I knew going into, and I don't know what your questions for me are, but I knew coming into this season that I wasn't going to be able to do it full time. Okay. It was going to be a part-time deal for me because I wear a lot of different hats. Like I'm the team manager for Mitchell Motorsports, and I'm working with Precision Performance now in my car, and then I've got my own team, and I've got a lot of different things going on, and so I have scheduling conflicts. I knew I couldn't do all the races. So I'm like, okay, after this long gap of not racing, I'm going to jump into a modified and see what I can do. And that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So, you don't need to feel sorry for me.
I'm just kidding. No. I wasn't trying to downgrade in any way.
It's still a big step. I know what you meant. But it's still those guys are very good. It's a lot to handle. So, but it's fun. I mean, I tested one before we got into it, and I was like, oh, I like this.
When you dive into somebody else's pool that's already used to swimming there.
Right.
It's a whole nother
story. Try a legend car.
Right.
Yeah.
So. No, I've not done that. So.
Well, go ahead, Colin. You got a couple things.
I got a few questions. So, how did you get involved with Mitchell Motorsports, and tell us more about, like, say, what you do. What is your role as being team manager over there?
I've been friends with Richard and Chris Mitchum for a long time. I've actually raced with them on the sports car side. I've competed and been in the same series and stuff. So we've had friendship over the years. And then probably for the past 3 or 4 years, I've worked for Mitchell Motorsports as like a spotter or a program assistant or something along those lines. Just been going to the races with them and kind of getting up to speed on what's now IMSA, but Grand Am a couple of years ago. And they were running in the Continental Tire Series, and I enjoy being a spotter. So that was a lot of fun. I was kind of getting back into racing myself. And then this past year, things changed up with the team, and I took on the role of team manager. And I like it a lot. We have 4 Lamborghinis that we're competing in the Super Trofeo Series this year. And so we've got, all the guys to support that, and then the drivers and everything that goes along with that. The media, we travel. We're all up and down the East Coast. We go to the West Coast too. So.
Must be pretty well funded when you can have 4 Lamborghinis.
It is. It's a spec series, so 2 of our cars are dealer owned. The Palm Beach dealer out of Florida, and then Chicago dealer, and then we have 2 factory cars.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So are they all like are all the Lamborghinis in the series? Are they all built the same? So it's like is it all even?
It's a spec series. So they're all either Gallardo. It's a 2-class field. That's another difference between like short circle track and sports cars is you're racing against other people that aren't even necessarily in your class, so that's another thing you have to to learn and get used to. But yeah, there's 2 different classes.
Okay.
So there's a Huracans and a Gallardos.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned about the Lamborghini series while working at Mitchell Motorsports?
What's the most surprising thing I've learned? I don't know about surprising, but one of the things that's interesting about this this series now is that we don't do, up until Watkins Glen, which was kind of a surprise to us, our races are like 2 each weekend, right? So we'll have 2 45-minute races. Yep. So we don't necessarily need to do pit stops, but they have a mandatory pit stop, and it's a minimum time, right? So you can't be any faster than the minimum time for that track. So they kind of try to keep a level playing field, and for one of the reasons is because you often have a teammate, so you can have 2 drivers, so you've got co-drivers, so you've got to get one person in and one person out. And that was one of the jobs I did for Mitchell Motorsports last year, was I did driver assist, so you're helping one guy get out and one guy get in, or girl, or whatever. And so that's one of the reasons that they have a mandatory pit stop. So it's a developing series. I mean, they're trying to promote the Lamborghini brand, and they're trying to level the playing field for different levels of talent, and then also for the single and the 2 driver entries. So it's a little bit different than, I mean, obviously we don't have driver changes at the moment.
So how are the races laid out in the Lamborghini series, say, on a race weekend, and what does a typical race weekend look like?
Typical race weekend starts like, it's usually about 4 or 5 days. So it's not even a weekend. For the teams, I mean, we load in the day before we practice. And at some events we have something called a promoter test day, which is put on by the track itself, not even the sanctioning body, where the drivers can get additional testing time. So for instance, at VIR, we'll load in on Wednesday, which is coming up in 2 weeks. Okay. We'll have promoter test day on Thursday. We practice Friday, and maybe qualify, maybe just practice. And then Saturday we race, and Sunday we race. So it's really drawn out. And in conjunction with all that are 4 other series going on. So, you know, the schedule's packed all day long.
Wow.
Right.
That's got to be busy.
It is, and the paddock is really busy. You know, there's 100 haulers in there.
Are you guys always rushed for different?
No, it's not necessarily. It's just that there's always somebody on track all day long. So, you know, it could be the MX-5 guys. It could be Continental Tire guys. It could be the Tudor Sport, you know, guys. Right. Yeah. So it's an awesome opportunity to go out and see some really top-notch sports cars and road racing competition. Some of the best drivers are on the same weekend as us.
Okay. Tell us why you picked the modified division to race in, and describe your progression so far, and what are your goals for the modifieds?
I knew that I didn't want to get back into a late model stock car. I feel like you can really get outmoneyed in that class, and I don't necessarily have the budget or want to get into that race, you know, for cash all the time. I wanted to do something where I could, I like the 2-tire rule, I like the motor rule, and after I'd driven one last year, somebody gave me the opportunity to come out and test. I just like the feel of the car. I mean, they're kind of darty, they're kind of point and shoot, it's a lot of horsepower, and you've got to be super smooth and focused, and I like that aspect of it. So they have a good field. We had 17 cars Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's cool.
We don't race every week. You know, I don't want to have to be out there every single weekend. It doesn't work for me anymore. So every other, you know, twice a month is good.
That's great.
Who do you have for sponsors on your car?
We don't have any sponsors yet. I'm just getting started, and that's something that is obviously very important. I mean, we need that kind of resource to develop the car and to go to the track more and to pay for all the things that go along with that. So I'm working on that now.
Now, when you were running late models, was that locally here or somewhere else you were running those?
Primarily at Caraway Speedway.
Caraway.
Yeah. Back with Jamie Skinner, and it's a lot of good competition down there in North Carolina. So we raced there. I mean, I've raced at New Smyrna and South Boston and Southampton, and I don't know, you name it. Got a long list.
Cool. I mean, anytime you can, the more seat time you can get on different tracks, and in your case, you're getting to do it in a lot of different cars.
Right.
That's going to give you a better range of experience, learning how to drive what I always call by the seat of your pants.
Right. I was kind of kidding a couple of years ago because I didn't own my own car anymore or my own team or anything like that, so I was always kind of at the mercy of you know, racing buddies and people who are trying to help me get back into racing. And I would be in this car, and then I would jump into that car, and I was like, gosh, you know, I'm getting really good at jumping into something I've never been in before and learning to adjust, and it's not really a skill I want to develop, you know. I want to be in the same car all the time, but it's still a good experience.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get into, now this is, you're racing with Rick and Autoweek's team.
Yeah.
How did y'all get that, or was that a change off with the trade over with Brandon Racing and the label?
Well, that's how we met, which is great, and it's worked out great because we kind of have both had the same kind of things going on. You know, their background is circle track, and they're really good at and have a lot of experience running at Langley, and then obviously in the K&N series, and now they're doing the Xfinity stuff. And you know, I'm the team manager for one of the cars Brandon's in, so that's how we met.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes sense, and geographically it makes sense. They're right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Rick's usually got some really good stuff. He's also a really nice guy to deal with. He's usually, as far as I've ever known him, always straight and level, up over the board, top of everything. So, which is always what you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they've really helped us work through a lot of the mechanical gremlins on that car that I think, you know, you always think you get a car that's going to be race ready. Well, they're never race ready, right? And so, you know, I'm not in a position right now to be running my own team, you know, and I've got 3 kids, and I'm at a different point where I'm not trying to, you know, pursue a career in racing. I want to be able to have the best people I can around me help me when I go to the racetrack. So it's a really good fit.
You get some pretty good feedback to the guys when they're taking and setting up the car for you when you're practicing during the day?
Yeah, we tested Friday before we went out Saturday, and it was Charleston Ike and Rick Godovic and myself, and another driver came out and helped us, and another one of their crew members. And you know, I think by the end of from Friday afternoon to Saturday night, at the end of the night, we had accomplished a lot. And we learned a lot, and I feel like, you know, we've got some really good, we wanted to get a baseline, you know, and we've made a lot of changes. We made a really big change before the first race, and it was the right change. And sometimes you roll the dice and it's the wrong change. So
you go way out this way.
Yeah, so we're starting to really gel, and that's what's exciting for me, because we can see light at the end of the tunnel now, you know.
You've heard people, and I just mentioned the phrase a while ago, driving by the seat of your pants. And people just look at me when I tell them that, and I said, you would be surprised when you're in a race car what you feel, reactions through your body, through your legs, through your butt, through your back, the sides, whatever the car.
You're part of the car.
Yeah, and the reactions you're feeling through the body.
Right.
And
well, that's where you learn to give good feedback. Like, well, do you feel it in the pedal, or do you feel it in the steering wheel? Is it drive line? Is it front end? Is it tire? You know, what is it that you're feeling?
Yeah, one of the examples, you're going into the turn. When you tap to set the brake to give you a spot to get ready to take off from. When do you get back into it? These are all feelings you're going to feel and process through your brain before you do each of them. Because you know, because if you're going to do it too soon and you think you're feeling it, and you go to hit the gas and going around you go, or into somebody you go, or the wall you go.
Right.
And I discussed this with several people, and this was actually revolved around Tony Stewart. Because that man had a bad crash, got a lot of stuff put in his legs that have never been there before.
Right.
And so his whole body has to get used to feeling this new stuff and incorporating it into his brain. And it's basically like retraining yourself. And he's trying to retrain himself in such a short period of time that you've got to get out there and you've got to get doing things and trying to get back into it and get running. And people just can't understand it when I said, well, when you drive by the seat of your pants, Tony is one of those guys, he feels that car. And now he's got all this extra stuff in his body that's giving him false sensations.
Right.
Instead of having your bones feeling stuff, now you're having extra metal feeling stuff and making you feel straight. So it's going to confuse his brain. And everybody's just going to have to wait for him to get used to it.
There's a lot of speculation right now about what's going on with him, and you know, I think being out of the car for a while just has a lot to do with it. I mean, even though that's what he does 365 days a year, you know, things change, and a lot of this sport is very mental. I mean, it's a team sport, but it's also a very mental sport.
Well, you look at somebody like Tiger Woods. He's the greatest thing ever in golf, and yet mentally he had a lot of things happen that had thrown his game off, and he's trying to play with things all the time to change his game up. But you look at Tony. Tony's had mental stress of things that have happened, and also the physical injuries and so forth. And
Tiger's also had some work done on his back too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So
you've got to like shut all that stuff out and just focus on what you're doing and not listen to anybody else, or just listen to a couple people and have your own goals and your own and do your
personally
own thing. You just got to do your own thing.
When Tony said he wasn't going to run sprint cars anymore, I think that was probably the worst thing, because that is one of his true loves. He likes to race,
right?
And he needs to get back into there and get back out there, even if it's just doing it on the Eldora when nobody's around,
right?
Just to start having fun again.
You think that would help him on the cut side?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe he could develop.
Because that's also going to affect the mental state of you also, if you're starting to feel the fun.
Well, you have to have fun doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when
Well,
Tony,
at least at this level. I mean, he's getting paid, but most of us, I mean, it's not easy, and it's not a lot of fun a lot of the time. You gotta really want it, and you have to have fun doing it, or you're not, it's pointless.
When he was bad boy and everything,
right?
Me and somebody else both told him the same thing. Tony, you got to remember when this was fun.
Right.
And within 6 months, it started kicking back in for him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the really bad boy Tony was no longer there.
Right.
Granted, he would still have I don't want to call it a smart ass attitude, but a quick rapport with things, So, when he gets asked the same freaking question 15 times in the same day, and he goes, and they start asking, ask me something different. Ask me something that's really fun to answer, or, I've stood beside him and listened to him go, and oh my God, there are times I want to pick up my camera and videotape it for the people to see him when he is just having his fun with everybody, just chit-chatting, talking, away from everything. But then again, I feel like I would be violating his
privacy.
His private space.
Right.
But I mean, it's not private. You're talking 15 people around him talking.
Right.
Officials, other drivers, people like me. It's just sort of like sacred territory. You just want to keep it for here.
That's the fun thing about the sport is the people that you work with. I mean, like on the Lamborghini side with Mitchell Motorsports, it's our same. We've had almost no turnover, right? We've had almost all the same guys for years. And so we have a good time when we go to the track. I mean, we're there because we want our cars to run fast and we want to keep winning. And we work very hard, but we also have that fun while we're standing around and we have downtime and with the officials and the drivers. And I mean, that's part of the whole sport. That's why people do it.
I'm going to be doing a lot of talking to you, by the way.
Okay.
This is away from the cameras when we do this.
I got a couple questions. So, your kids must have the coolest mom in schools. They must be like really
so unimpressed,
bragging up their mom all the time, at school. Like, your mom, come on.
They don't even I don't think they even get it, or because they're used to me, and they don't pay attention. I think they're probably paying attention right now.
Okay.
That's like a lot of people that are out there that have their kids and they're race car drivers, and the kids grew up with it, and it's like,
right.
Oh, home,
I'll tell you something cool that happened though. About a month ago, when we first got the modified out at Langley, they came out and watched. And up until now, when I've done some other races, particularly at road courses, they get a little bored and they've actually fallen asleep in the stands. And I'm like, yeah, great. But there's like 2 minutes until I come back around again.
They want to see there she goes again.
Right. Not on my husband because he's sitting there and they're all asleep on him. But the other time we raced at Langley, we came home, and the next day, my son was so pumped up. He's like, I want to be your teammate, Mommy, and this was so fun. And he went downstairs, and he has one of those really cool, Hot Wheels setups that does all the loop-de-loops and everything. And he completely took it apart, and I was like, what are you doing? And he built it into a circle track. And I was like, yes! Finally! Somebody gets it, So that was kind of cool for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's what, the bug gets you, but same thing happened with Colin, just taking him 2 races, taking him to Langley, taking him to Richmond, and things like it's the speed, it's the sound, it's the vibration in your chest, when you're. So I can only imagine to get in the car and actually participate on that level, how wrapped up you get. So
what did you think of Southside when you raced there?
When I first raced at Southside, I loved it. I love that class. The Charger class was so fun. Talk about, remember when it used to be fun? I mean, those were the like fun days. I was so naive about racing. There was a lot of beating and banging going on, and those cars could take a beating and banging. I mean, you didn't have the big, bill at the end of the night from what you'd torn up, because you could just go home and fix it. So that took a lot of stress out of the mix, and it's a very short track. Yeah. So I think it's a really good place to start off.
Oh yeah,
because it's tough.
Yeah, I run legend cars up there. So on Friday nights.
Yeah. So I like Southside a lot.
Cool. Is that you, Eric?
This is me.
This is me. The guy that's got his own female hockey team.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. We could insert any sport right there, and I believe we can have a full roster and a substitute. So.
There you go. Then we got Eric McClure on the line here, and he is a NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, driving the number 14 Hefty. What is it? Which Hefty is it on there this weekend?
We're Reynolds Wrap this weekend.
Oh, you're Reynolds Wrap this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Eric has 5 girls, and I always give him a hard time because he's in a really bad situation. He's the only guy in the house. And Eric, I know.
No wonder he races.
Yeah.
You stay out of the house.
Oh, what are you gonna try to have another one, and hopefully it's a boy?
We are pretty well set on our girls right now. We actually have 6 daughters now, so.
Oh gosh.
We do have a house full of little girls, sweet girls, and I think like anyone, if when we have children, we just want them to be healthy. But I tell you, there's nothing like a daddy's girl, and we're really, really pleased with the way everything's turned out.
Oh goodness! I'm gonna talk with you at Richmond. We're gonna have to get you straight. but so go ahead and do a quick bio about yourself, and then we'll go into the other things we want to talk about.
Sure. It's pretty cut and dry with me. If you followed your show for a while, we've been on here a few times, and if you follow the NASCAR National Series, we've been a regular in the Xfinity Series for the last 10 years, certainly over the years with the Hefty brand and their various products being represented on the car, and then over the last little bit, we've transitioned into more prominent Reynolds Wrap branding. So, We've been with TriStar Motorsports for about half that time, a great relationship there, and, just plugging away, trying to continue to, fight as an independent team and compete at the highest level that we can with, what opportunities and resources we do have. But just very fortunate to have been in this series as long as we have, and, enjoying the season and trying to overcome those challenges and get a little faster before the year's over.
So, yeah, you've been running for quite a while, and always enjoy being able to talk to you at the track. And you're very active in Twitter. Have you started periscoping yet?
I don't even have Instagram yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. But no periscoping just yet. Just the occasional silly video with Hal Martin on Facebook and Twitter.
All right, you're making me feel a lot better, Eric, because I don't either. And I thought I was in the minority.
That's Sunny Hobbs. She drives in the modified series and several other series as well too. So we've got her in here with us tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I had saw the tweet about the show and thought I recognized the name, so I've been doing a little research on Sunny, and certainly quite an impressive resume, and balancing the role of mom and race car drivers. So that's something to have a tremendous amount of respect for right there.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Now, tell us this little bit of news that's been coming up here just recently. You and Hal Martin got into a little thing going on.
Yeah, my history is obviously my family's involvement from the team ownership side in Martin-McClure Motorsports. So, I grew up around racing prior to the desire to be a race car driver. So I always felt like as I've gotten older and gone through the scenarios, that we've battled, the things we've battled, the health, the accident, and whatnot, it certainly brought a realization that I have more driving days behind me than I do in front of me. And obviously, as we went around the thought process at home, and Brandon and I talked about it, I felt like the next logical step in the industry, to be active in the industry down the road and maintain, that drive to compete, was in team ownership. And we have had played around a little bit in the late model series, the limited series, a few years back, and had a great time doing that. But during that time, as these things were happening, and my driving career was continuing, Hal Martin came along and was a teammate of mine at TriStar, and we developed a fairly close friendship. Our lives are very close, and I consider him one of my best friends, in the world. And his goals as he was trying to drive was a lot like mine. So it seemed like the next logical step for us would be an opportunity to build a team. And as such, we announced last week that we have started a K&N Series, Pro Series East team, and we kind of got our feet wet a little bit at Iowa last week, and it's just something we're really excited about. We're getting our feet wet as we go along, and feel like our experiences, both in the driving seat and as we owned our own equipment coming up through the ranks, and certainly leaning on my family's experience, we feel like we have something to create a good foundation for a future run in that series.
So where y'all got y'all's racing shop at?
Well, right now we're sharing a shop in Addington, and we've utilized relationships we've had. An interesting story when our agreement with a young driver named Chad Fincham, who's a phenomenal talent, up and coming driver. You'll hear a lot about the future. We put this partnership together, and we have about 3 weeks to execute it before the first race. So we've really been jumping back and forth, trying to put that together with an eye on the future. And certainly we have another scheduled race with him at Dover, and looking to, in a perfect world, build something out of Southwest Virginia. Certainly my family was there, and then, Charlie Henderson's truck team is there, and we have a lot of relationships with those folks, and just an exciting time for us, a way for us to try to build something for our area. I mean, the Southwest Virginia area is very rich in motorsports history, and certainly, auto racing has been good to me personally, and I feel like it's an opportunity to give back to the sport that we're passionate about and are passionate about, and try to help younger drivers along the way get some experience as they try to make it to the highest levels of NASCAR. So we're really excited about what we're doing. We have set a goal, set a plan, and put that in motion, and we're just looking forward to the opportunity of being a regular presence in that series.
Yeah, I was curious if y'all were going to use the old Martin-McClure building or not. So
in a perfect world we would. I mean, I've had a lot of secret plans or dreams for that facility since they stepped out of the Sprint Cup Series competition. But since that time, the building has a new occupant and no longer in our family's possession. So certainly have to make other arrangements in the short term there, but obviously just driving by that when I'm home and looking at the history there and thinking about the memories that I personally made there or was able to make there and be a part of was just really special. So glad that the building is still there, but it looks like Martin-McClure Racing will have a different home, at least in the short term.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of history there. I've stopped by several times. I used to enjoy coming there, and it was right there on 81, had its own exit, and pop off, go in, check out the museum and everything else you guys had, all the souvenirs that were there and everything else that went along with it. Everybody was always really, really nice.
Yeah, it was a special time. Just they still have one of their Daytona 500 winners there, and certainly the trophy case is still intact, and just good people that were a part of that, and certainly I'm very close to my dad and his brothers, and then just the people, you know, from the area, local folks that made up that organization, and they were able to compete at the highest level for a long period of time. And just something to be proud of, being a professional athletics team there, and you know, what they meant to the community and the people that were behind them, and certainly, you know, the hospitality that was always extended when guests came in. If you knew my grandmother, anything less than that would have not been tolerated. So, you know, just real proud to have had that guidance and you know, get to be a part of some really special times.
Cool.
Hey, Eric, this is Colin, a local legend car driver here in Virginia. So, with your K&N team, are you guys willing to develop drivers with or without their own funding?
Colin, this is a great question. You know, obviously in this industry, you know, funding makes the industry happen, and you know, I feel like we're open to doing various things. I mean, certainly the way the industry has transitioned, a driver that does have some financial backing, you know, tends to have opportunities, and you know, we're in a situation that we look at that very seriously, and you know, through that, feel like our experience as drivers, you know, can help groom this process or this young driver and his partners as he tries to take them to a higher level. In the same breath, you know, coming from the side where, you know, as a driver, my company's had to find, you know, establish and enhance the relationships and cultivate those relationships with partners that's allowed me to compete. You know, I feel, and I'm speaking for myself, and not so much now, but I feel like we have experience in that, and I feel like that's where our strengths are, and we want to put together opportunities with partners that want to participate in a form of NASCAR and may not, you know, have the budget or the marketing situation to participate in say, the Sprint Cup Series or the Xfinity Series. So aligning with us allows us an opportunity to bring them into the sport, give them the same, you know, tangible and intangible benefits and returns on investment opportunities, you know, that they might have at a higher level, but for a fraction of the cost. So we are certainly seeking out, you know, marketing partners to do this, whether it's a full-time or limited basis. We do have a lot of very exciting prospects for 2016 there, and in that case, we would look at an opportunity to develop a driver independently. But at this point, you know, we have one more race that we're committed to, and we're, you know, looking at opportunities to maybe do Richmond or Phoenix or some things to continue to lay the groundwork for a solid run in 2016.
All right. So how has your journey from racing and then to college and then back to racing helped develop you as a person or a racer?
Well, first and foremost, the experience that I have has made me certainly mature at a higher rate, you know, at the age that I was, and certainly be more appreciative of the opportunities I've had. My family never was very open to me being in the auto racing industry. My mother was a teacher. My dad, you know, had a high school education and you know, had become successful in the automotive business, but you know, knew that type of the business or that side of the business wasn't everything that you see on TV. So they really steered me towards education, you know, getting my degree. And you know, I played ball through high school and went to a small college, Emory-Henry, to try to play baseball. And you know, I got to be a kid. I got to do those things. But during that time, you know, my desire to race it in some form, you know, at the short track level, was really strong. So I worked through college to do that, and you know, made those opportunities happen. But the biggest role that my education played would come later. You know, as we worked through the promotional business, and we acquired, you know, first the Hefty brand, and now, you know, Reynolds Consumer Products in our program, and to learn, you know, how the business world works and the promotional side, communications. And I was able in those times to put the education to use, which ultimately allowed for me to compete at the professional level. And certainly, you know, the life experience and the historical experience with partners and in motorsports, you know, helped me as I came through the ranks with Martin-McClure, certainly. And those lessons were priceless. But at this point, sitting here, you know, there are tens or hundreds of thousands of drivers that race something Saturday night, and the only thing that is different is opportunities that some have versus others. And you know, a lot of people can drive a race car, but what's kept me here, obviously, is our long relationship with our partners, and I feel like that's something my education played a tremendous role in, and it's something that we do not take for granted, and we work very hard and take a lot of pride in what we've been able to do. So I say this all the time. If you're a young driver at any level, whether it's karting or late model stocks or you know, dirt modifieds, whatever the situation is, you can never go wrong pursuing an education, because whether it pays off in motorsports or down the road, it's something they can never take away from you, and you know, you can fall back on it anytime.
Cool. Awesome. Now, we do have your other half, and I'm not talking about your wife in marriage, but now your wife in business. How you doing, Hal?
Hey, doing well. Yeah, his wife's much better looking than I am, so I'll definitely admit to that. So
tell me, Hal. Eric has already said that you've been pretty much a really, really, really good long lifetime friend with him, basically. How does it make you feel being able to do what y'all are doing with the race team together?
Oh, it's just for one, it's a testament to our friendship. I mean, you know, Eric and I have been, you know, we met a few years ago whenever we were both driving for TriStar Motorsports, and from there, you know, Eric and I's friendship's kind of just grown, and we both had this idea that we wanted to get involved in some kind of project, you know, whether it be in racing or not, but more importantly, we wanted to be in racing. We were trying to figure out what that answer was and what project to do. So, you know, the more that we've gotten into this, you know, at first we were going to do smaller projects, and then, you know, we had a lot of late night discussions at our many family trips to Disney World over the course of the last year, and you know, we came up with this K&E's program. So, you know, very excited to be involved with Eric. I mean, you know, we feel like we make a pretty good team together. I know Eric uses the analogy all the time. You know, he likes to make the airplane look pretty, and I'm the guy that makes it take off. So. His marketing background and my technical background and my degree in mechanical engineering, I think we make a pretty good duo for young drivers up and coming in the series.
Well, I have a technical question for you. This is Sunny.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great.
How did you guys decide which name was going to come first on the team? Because that's really what's important, right?
You know, we had that discussion, and you know, Eric, I'll let you come in on your opinion on that after I speak mine first. If my name is first.
I was just teasing you guys. The guys in the studio were asking me.
It just sounded, it flowed better, I think, right, Eric?
It did flow better, but you know, they've got the mechanical engineer tongue tied now, so
you gotta come up with an acronym now or something that's cool, you know.
Some scientific reason.
Right.
I look at it like the great teams in the industry are last names, so we got that part down, and it does sound better.
Right.
I was just curious, did somebody flip a coin, or was it a 2 out of 3 thing?
Who has the most kids?
There you go.
I don't have any yet.
Oh,
okay. Eric's leading the charge there, but
pull out the dart board and toss darts for it. Cut the deck, you know. It doesn't matter as long as there's 2 good guys heading it up, and that's what we've got.
We appreciate that. You know, you have to have fun in racing, whatever level you're in, and that's something we, you know, Al and I share a lot of laughs and you know, good times as we discuss through this. And if you look back, this whole industry is nothing but relationships, and you know, everyone, you know, whether it's me or Hal or Sonny or Roger or Colin, you know, you get into this because you want to have fun, and it's something that you grow to love, and we're no different than anyone else. We're just two friends with the project, and something that we feel that with enough hard work and dedication, it'll be successful, whether it's a young driver or a veteran driver or whatnot. We feel like we would have a good home for someone to partner with.
Right.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, Eric, if you want to go ahead and hop out, we can finish off with Hal, unless you want to stay in here with us and give him a hard time.
No, you guys go right on. I'll listen. I'll listen live when I hang up. But I appreciate you guys and what you do for us and having us on the show.
No problem. I always enjoy having you on here, Eric. You know that.
Thanks, and Sonny, Colin, good luck to you guys with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I was going to follow up to something he was just saying that
What?
just kind of struck me as I was sitting here. It's
For
just
Eric
the
or Hal?
relationships. Either one, because of their friendship, the relationships that you make in racing. Saturday night, I wasn't sure how things were going to go in the test on Friday and whether or not we're going to race on Saturday. So I didn't tell a lot of people that we were going to race before we actually made the decision. And so I just kind of texted a few friends. And one of the guys that came out Saturday night used to race with me. I was adding this up as we were talking 20 years ago, and at Southside Speedway. And I mean, that's a pretty special thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he helped me when I first got started, and he came out Saturday night. So
That's pretty cool.
it is a big deal, because you've got to have fun with those people, and you really get to know people at the racetrack, because it's not always a good day, and you have bad days, and you do it together,
Oh, yeah.
So
Hal.
Yeah, that's something that Eric and I, when we were racing together, and then Eric talked about sponsorship and how important they are in the sport now, and I'm actively seeking to get back behind the driver's seat, but through sponsorships that I'm pursuing. But at the same time, when Eric and I were both racing on the same track for the same team, we were fierce competitors, but at the same time, we gave each other a lot of respect on the track, and that's something that kind of our friendship stemmed from that, and working together, on the track. And it led to our friendship off track as well.
Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to tell you hi from Lori.
Oh, yeah. I haven't talked to Lori in quite a while. I think the last time I saw her was at a racetrack at some point over the course of the last year, but, she grew up, or I grew up racing late models around the Gulf Coast, and, me and Lori crossed paths a good bit down there in the Pensacola area, so, hope she's doing well. I see she's doing a little bit of, PR for you guys. Is that correct?
Yep, she goes out and goes to some of the local races and going to start doing up some articles and get some interviews from some of the local guys, because we like to try to get up-and-coming talent on here, because it's always fun to see where the guys are coming from, what they're trying to get into, and to find out, 5 or 10 years down the road, boom, here they are. Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson. I got pictures of Kyle Larson so young back in 2011, 2012, and he looks like a little teeny kid. And
he still is a little teeny kid.
Yeah, but I mean, now he's matured some more and got some more facial definition. So it's just so funny to catch these guys and talk with them as they go up through the ranks.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure Lori's got some stories from me racing around the Gulf Coast. So if you ever ask her.
I didn't. I was nice. I didn't ask for any good, cool things. So I'll have to get her next time and get you back on here again. Are you going to Richmond? Are you guys going to go to the Are you guys going to the K&N race at Richmond?
Yes, sir. We should be there. We'll be there. We're working to. We'd love to enter our car in the race, but with the timetable that we're dealt right now, I think we'll probably just be there as spectators.
Okay. Well, she's told me, as far as she knows, she's going to come up and she's going to come in with us through the media. So that way you can go by and say hi again.
Absolutely. That'd be great. That would be great. It'd be good to see you all as well.
Cool beans.
Hey, Hal, this is Colin, local legend car driver here in Virginia.
Hey.
So I've got a few questions. Do you have any wild stories about your nickname?
About the Raging Cajun?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I can get into my Cajun talk a little bit if you want. I can tell a story in my Cajun language if you like with that accent, but I'm afraid some people won't be able to understand me. So just give you a little taste right there. But no, I grew up in South Louisiana, a little unorthodox to be in the stock car racing world, and grew up from a family that wasn't involved in racing at all. Just had my dad was a fan and introduced the sport to me when I was younger. And I kind of, just kept on to it from there. I was a big fan growing up, but was kind of going the baseball route. And I played baseball, growing up as a child and up through, up to my high school years, and was kind of going down that path. And when I was 15, kind of wanted to make the transition over to driving instead of swinging the bat. So was able to start in go-kart racing, and of course my family not being involved in racing, mom always said, no, you don't want to be a race car driver. You want to be, you want to play golf, or you want to do something a little safer. But I was fortunate enough to have parents that backed me in my early years as much as they could. It was a bit of a struggle there early on, and really had to search for all my sponsorship and stuff like that. But long story short, grew up in South Louisiana, and I ran a race in Mobile, Alabama. I ran a season there as a track champion in 2007. And 2008 came around, and there was a hurricane that hit our area. It wasn't too severe of a hurricane, but it was bad enough. I had to miss a couple of races. The first race back, I actually won in Mobile, and the track promoter there kind of dubbed me the Raging Cajun at that point. Overcame the hurricane damage and all that stuff, and the name kind of stuck. So it's a pretty cool nickname. Played on with my heritage and my roots. Grew up in South Louisiana, and I'm proud of being, where I'm from, being from South Louisiana and being a Cajun. So 6th generation Cajun from down there.
Well, I think that's awesome, Hal. You kind of reminded me of my cousins. I was born in Lake Charles, and when we go to visit family, they sound just like you.
That's right. Yeah, I was from the east side, but that's western Louisiana.
Right.
Both from the south, they're very similar. So
and there's not a lot of racing down there either. It's more about crawfish and boudin.
There really is. Yeah, that's more our speed.
Yeah.
Gators.
Yeah.
So what was your strategy in attending so many driving schools, and tell us about what you learned at those schools?
Yeah, sure. So, again, growing up in South Louisiana and racing, there wasn't a lot of racing down there. So I really, started in go-karts and kind of was at a crossroads. In 2005, I got involved in a pretty bad go-kart accident and went airborne, and it was a pretty bad wreck. And at that point, I was racing shifters and kind of going the road course route. I was racing shifter karts on road courses and kind of going the open wheel direction. Again, I was involved in a pretty bad accident, and basically I just, said, I wanted a roll cage around me. And from there, we just kind of said, okay, well, here's our next step. And I always wanted to be in NASCAR, so that was a very, very high priority on my list. And from there, we had basically had to make a decision. And instead of just jumping full bore into, a late model, we said, well, got to go get some training, because I'm jumping from a go-kart into something a lot bigger. Legend car racing wasn't big down there. There really wasn't any, sportsman or street stock or anything on the asphalt tracks that there weren't any asphalt tracks in Louisiana. So my next course was to go and take some driving school lessons, and basically I learned all my fundamentals. Went through the Buck Baker schools, fast track racing school with Andy Hillenberg, as well as the Bondurant high performance driving school out of Phoenix, and basically just learned fundamentals, learned car control, all the basics, and then from there took a step up into the late models and was pretty successful right out the gate. So I credit a lot of my early success in the full-sided cars to the training that I went through. So that was basically the reason, was just to get the fundamentals down.
Okay.
So, you done already?
Yeah.
No more questions?
Well, now, I don't think we since we went straight into the racing part, go ahead and do a quick bio about all the racing you have already done.
Sure, yeah. Like I said, growing up, raced go-karts and quick progression through my career. I got a later start than most people. Fortunately, I was pretty successful right out the gate every time I moved up, and that's kind of been like not my calling card, but just an advantage I guess I had there was I was able to quickly adapt to whatever car I was in. So, raced go-karts, won state championships, won a bunch of races, racing locally, and from there moved up into late models, racing around the Gulf Coast. My first full season in a pro late model, which is like a crate late model class down in the Gulf Coast. I won the track championship at Mobile International Speedway and finished third in Pensacola. so the year after that, I tried to run another full season, and we were on track to win another track championship in Mobile, and that's when the hurricanes, we had a couple hurricanes that hit that year, and it forced me to miss 2 races. So I was out of the hunt for the championship, but still won a couple of races that year and finished high up in points. From there, the next year, I moved up to the ARCA Series, and in my second start in the series was at Chicagoland Speedway and finished 3rd. My first time on a mile and a half, so basically just a lot of success right out the gate. The next couple of years, I don't want to say I struggled, because I hate to use that word, because I'm blessed to do what I do, and I'm very fortunate to be racing at the level that I've raced at. But I just struggled to find sponsorship. It was just a tough couple of years, and only ran maybe 5 or 6 races each year in the ARCA Series, and raced for some good teams. I raced for Venturini Motorsports, Bill and Cassie and Billy were all great people in helping me along with my career. And had some good runs in that series. Had a lot of bad luck that year with crashes at speedways and just some unorthodox things like running over some lead, knocking a auto line off. It was like every race we had something happen to us. So didn't really have success that year. Just we were running in front, and we're fast everywhere. Just had some bad luck, and then that was 2011. And again from that point, then I started racing late models again to stay in the seat while I was working on sponsorship. I was able to land a pretty nice sponsor that went to do some marketing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And from there, signed on with TriStar Motorsports in the Xfinity Series and ran, 3 races in 2012, and then followed that up with 12 races in 2013, which was my most full season to date, really. And that was my, for me, it was the best season I've had because of the series I was racing in and the consistency we were starting to have toward the end of my first 10 races. And unfortunately, I had to get out of the seat because I didn't have any more sponsors here. So. Since then, last year I had hardship with lupus early last year, so I really didn't get to do much racing last year. I had to put family first, I had to move home and really take care of things at home. So, this year I'm back at it. January 1st this year I really had a, kind of a new life inspired in me and back at it, trying to get sponsorship, get back behind the wheel, and started this K&N team with Eric, and just really fired up for what we have on the horizon, and hoping to build the K&N team as well as get back behind the wheel of the NASCAR Xfinity Series car. So, kind of a quick rundown of my career, and a little long-winded there, but that's pretty much the progression of my career from start to finish in a quick little synopsis.
Yeah, check with Eric when we get done. I passed him a little bit of info. We've got some stuff going on that we might be able to help you out with too.
Okay.
But
that would be great.
Now, earlier you said you didn't have any kids. Well, now you're
not yet.
But now you're married to Eric. So anytime you want to go experience kids, you've got a ready-made family. You can go over and visit, and that'll cure you for a few days.
That's right. I got married in the end of 2013. So been married for a little over a year and a half now, and the children discussion comes up a lot more often now. I joke and say, every time that we start talking about kids, we go hang out with Eric for a weekend and fill with kids, and then we go back home. But
it takes care of it for a month.
yeah. And we love kids. My wife and I, we love children. We love Eric's kids. They're great. We really enjoy spending time with them. And like I said, I'm sure children aren't too far off, in the future for us. So we're looking forward to when that day is, and we're blessed with children, one day. So like I said, we're very fortunate to be in the position that we're in, and I'm blessed to be in the career that I am. Something I've always wanted to do. So take every day as it comes and live life to the fullest.
Now, I meant to ask Eric a question earlier, and he got away from me. I'm going to ask it to you. If you were sitting out at the racetrack, a fan came up to you, wanted to get an autograph from you, what would they need to do that you would remember them a whole year later if they came back to the track again to get another autograph?
Well, at this point, having not driven in a long time, I think that anybody that would come and ask for an autograph, I probably remember it. But no, just kidding. That's a hard question. You know, and I've really not had too many. I can't really think of a really unorthodox autograph request, to be honest. But I would think anything beyond a card or a hat, or a shirt. Yeah, I think anything beyond that, I think would be. Sometimes I'll have fans come up and to me at a track, and they'll have like a hero card from like the first time I made hero cards when I was racing go-karts, right? And I'm just like, I asked them, like, where did you get this?
I like those cards because I mean I look great. I'm like, wow, where'd you get that card? That's from a long time ago. Can I have that?
I had a full head of hair. I'm like,
right, exactly.
Oh goodness. Well, Hal, I know you guys got stuff to do. We're going to go ahead and let you get out of here. We're going to talk to Sonny a little bit more before we break loose and go have some supper.
All right. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, thank y'all for having us on the show. I always enjoy coming on here. I know it's been a few years since I've been on the show. And Eric's on here a good bit till he's fed. So, thank y'all for having us on, and we'd be more than happy to come back on if you guys will have us, and, enjoy it as always. And like I leave all my radio interviews, I say, les bon temps roulé, which in Cajun French means let the good times roll. So, thank y'all again for having us.
Yeah, I'd like to have everybody that's been on our show just treat everybody like family. We got good ones, we got bad ones, but hey, they're all welcome.
I hope we're good.
Yeah, you guys are good. I enjoy talking with Eric. I'm gonna get him doing Periscope yet. Have you tried Periscope yet?
I haven't. I have not. We've been messing around with videos on our little road trips that we do. So I think we might give this Periscope thing a shot here in the next maybe week or so. We'll try it out. I
mean, it's really neat, and you would really be surprised how many people are doing it. I've got some people that will. I get to watch some of the.
He's got a side deal with Periscope.
I wish.
He is like you. That's 5 or 6 times now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty neat. We actually are Periscoping the show as well as doing a regular video broadcast.
Okay.
And so you can watch it at any time. And if you get the right stuff set up, you can keep the recordings. The way it is now, once they do it, it's there for 24 hours and it disappears. But there are now sites out there that will allow you to put it on their site, and people watch it as many times as they want. And people will do just the strangest things. Tony Stewart, he is sometimes, I think, just totally mad. Howie Mandel. I get Justin Bieber. I get backstage info from watching some of his stuff, and God knows who else is out there. All the time I'm getting little things that pop up on my screen telling me who's doing a show, and it's usually like a 5-minute to hour-long thing, just depending on who's doing what. And you just have to go out there and watch and look at some of the stuff and just see how crazy it is.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do like a Hal and Eric hour or something.
There you go. I mean,
our wives are convincing me to do our own TV shows. So maybe this will be a good way to break into that.
Hey, if you wanted to get one set up, just let me know. I'll get you hooked up with all the right stuff you need.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely let you know.
All right. Hal, y'all have a fun time, and we'll catch up with you as soon as we can. Hopefully, we'll at least run into you at Richmond.
All right. Sounds great. Hopefully, we'll see y'all there.
And good luck on y'all's racing.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
All right. We'll talk to you again.
Yep. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye-bye. Sometimes I feel like when you're trying to say goodbye, it keeps going and going.
Yeah.
Who's going to say goodbye last?
Yeah.
And then it's like then you bring something else up and the conversation starts again.
Well, what can I say? But, I mean, the Periscope thing's cool. People come in and hop in, watch it, and some will drop off if they don't find it interesting.
I'll check it out. You're convincing me.
I mean, but the thing is, you link it to Twitter. Okay, once you've linked it to Twitter, as soon as you go to do it, you have a little button you point that will announce it on your Twitter feed.
Right.
And a little button here where you can announce to where you're actually at when you're doing it, what city you're in.
Right.
And you have another one that you can either let followers see it or not see it. And you can do private ones too. So if you want to talk to somebody and you just talk to them and they can type information back to you.
So I'm convinced now you're getting a little something on the side.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, if I do, I better go buy Twitter stock.
I mean, if not, they should be giving you something anyway.
But I mean, it is sort of cool because a lot of people want to be able to do videos of things they do. And a lot of times, you got to go sign up on YouTube, and you got to do all this, got to do all this, and then you got to put apps on your cameras, and then you got to set all this mess up, and you got to have a connection. Now, this way you can go through, and with the Twitter, it automatically notifies everybody. Because you are still trying to figure out how to link all your social media stuff together. There's so much stuff, because anytime, I've got it set up now, if I post on Facebook, it automatically goes to Twitter.
I know.
I post on Twitter, it automatically goes to Facebook.
Keeping up with all of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, you don't have to keep up with all of it.
I need a personal assistant in my house.
No. I got enough of my own stuff I do. But there are a lot of things out there to help promote you, yourself, racing team. By the way, what is SHE Racing supposed to be?
Oh, speaking of acronyms, that's Sonny Hobbs Enterprises. So I copyrighted that when I first started racing before I got married.
That's perfect.
So now I have a different last name, but
that's what, Voelker?
Voelker. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. But I've raced under Sonny Hobbs for so long that we just kind of keep that.
If I ever put my real name on my race car, everybody say, "Who's that?"
Yeah, it's amazing though. People remember. I mean, they remember you based on your name from.
Well,
who knows when, you know.
Here's what's funny to me.
When women change their names around, it just gets so confusing.
When somebody comes
you were
up
a star
to me,
before you got married, so you got to keep the Hobbs thing going, I guess.
It just sounds good.
Yeah. So I have a system. Depending on how somebody, when they come up to me and what they call me, will tell me where I know them from.
Oh.
If somebody comes up and says, "Hey Doc," "Hey PC," it's from racing.
Right.
But if you use my regular name, it's from here or from the show. So, which it sounds like it would be backwards.
Well, there's I mean, it's such a small community in motorsports. I mean, every track you go to, you're going to see somebody you know from somewhere else. So.
I've had people.
It surprises me all the time. I mean, even crossing over from NASCAR racing to sports cars. I mean, there's the same folks and see each other.
And for me, doing our show that we've been doing for the years we've been doing it, it always feels good. You walk out to a track, somebody says, "Hey, aren't you from Let's Talk Racing?" Yeah. And it's a little bit of miniature. Wow.
Right.
Put me in LA. Put me on the red carpet. Right.
Well, you're halfway there. I didn't realize you were following Justin Bieber on Twitter, so that's...
I know. Howie Mandel, he gets his kicks off of prank calls.
Okay.
He will tell people, put a phone number up there, the person that you want me to call, and what the prank you want me to do.
Oh my gosh, really?
And it flows. I mean, if you ever watched Twitter, how Twitter goes, Twitter's slow compared to how many people put stuff on there. And I feel sorry for the guy. He gets 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people trying to put this stuff up there, and it's just going zzz. And he's trying to...
It's like, what was and
you see him doing like this, trying to catch it, And I actually went and ordered an iPad the other day so that I can do this with the iPad and still be able to do what I need with my phone.
Right.
Because I'm sitting there when I started this up in the beginning, and Eric and him said, "Oh, make sure you text us, reminder right before we got to go on." And I said, "Okay," and I started it, and I started going, and that's when I said, "Oh crap, I got to go in the other room." Well, I do have an app on my phone, on my PC, I'm sorry, that I can go in and text the people through my phone using the app. And I don't have to actually use
There's an app for everything.
There is.
I want one for laundry, dishes.
Yeah.
Not so much so far.
That will be the real Android.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Well, you can control most of the appliances in your house now.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
You just can't load the washing machine without being there.
Hey, you've got kids.
I've got three minions for that.
There you go.
My little pit crew.
Right. How old are they now?
8, and 6.
8.
Wow, you had twins?
Scarlett, Josephine, and Dwight. Yeah.
Nice.
That's why I kind of had to sit out for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have filled Howland a little bit more.
It's the only downside to being a girl driver. You got to take a little break.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it. Don't get me wrong.
oh God, I can't remember where I saw this at, and excuse me for trying to say it lightly, but they actually have an apparatus for men to wear to do what the women have to do for the babies for feeding.
Oh, gee.
So,
I blocked all that out. That was like, that's in the past.
But you need, see, that's something Hal should know about. You say, oh, this is something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Technology the way it is.
Yeah.
You know. But hey, what can we say? Sonny, I really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. I appreciate all the good questions.
If anytime you want to come and be a guest host, give me a shout. We'll bring you in here and have fun.
Okay. Y'all should come out to VIR in 2 weeks and watch our Lamborghinis race around the track and check out all the rest of the IMSA series that is there. I think you'd enjoy it.
I'm trying to remember if I know who runs VIR or not.
You should get them offline, right? From Tickets VIR. Okay.
Yeah. You can. I think I actually went and looked the other day because we have some folks coming in for just like 1 day or 2 days of the event, and you can buy tickets based on how.
By the way, anybody still watching, if y'all got a question for Sonny or one of us, go ahead and throw it on here now.
Yeah, it's like it's the 20th through the 23rd, so it's not that far from here.
It's a nice little ride. We've been out there.
3 hours.
I mean, if you like racing, you'll enjoy yourself.
2 years ago, I guess we went out there
for Canyon East race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have 2 more kids, you'll have a full pit crew, right?
Right. But that's not going to happen.
All right.
Just show them the Brad Keselowski video from this weekend.
Yeah.
And keep them all
right.
straight if they're your pit crew.
I'm never
mouthing off. Whoever's mouthing off is carrying the jack.
Oh, goodness. We're going to go ahead and shut down the Periscope here. Everybody have a good night. This is Roger with Let's Talk Racing. Hit the button.
I'm excited about VIR because it's like our home track. So
Yeah.
everybody can come out and check it out.
Like a home
And
race.
people that follow Brandon Godovic can come watch him race.
You guys get a lot of folks from over the beach and families of people participating with the
Most
team
of
and all
our
that?
crew lives in this area. We fly in a couple guys. We have some guys from North Carolina. But like for a race like this, almost everybody can drive in. We've got a guy coming in from Pennsylvania. I mean, we do so much traveling, and flying these days can be so frustrating that
just south of
a lot of our
Boston,
guys
right?
prefer to drive because I know they're going to get there.
The VR is just south of South Boston, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're at
Southwest.
Yeah.
Southwest.
Yeah, it's
I
right
know,
there.
I know when I'm going to Martinsville, I see
Between South Boston
VIR.
and
When you're at the
Denver.
crossroads to take the right turn, I guess, to go out to South Boston
Before you
Speedway,
get to Danville and
you go a little further.
Where is your shop located for Mitchell Motorsports?
It's in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Yep. So.
If we come over, can we test drive our Lambo?
Can I take a hand do it?
Donuts in the parking lot?
We can practice the winning burnout. How's that?
I can
donuts for winning.
do a swap. I'll give you the legend card for the Lambo.
Right.
It's an empty parking
Do
lot.
a
We
swap.
won't
Yeah.
bend up the fenders or anything, you know.
If I get in there, it'll be lower to the ground.
Yeah.
We're better ground effect.
It's pretty low already.
Driving.
Spark City. Do it at night.
Yeah.
So I guess with the home race coming up, there people are probably you're the team manager, so they're wearing you out with requests and kind of like coordinating a lot of different things.
Lamborghini does a fantastic, like unbelievable job of hospitality at the track. So they have their own kind of complex, and that's where, and they also do a great job not just of hospitality for like the guests and the VIPs and the drivers, but also for the crew. I mean, that's where we feed our guys. And so we get really good meals.
That's awesome.
But it's a very nice setting, so that really just helps promote the series for everybody associated with it and sponsors that are there. We have TV this year for the first time, so.
Now, is this a Lamborghini series or is it a Tudor series or?
It's IMSA is the sanctioning body, but it's Lamborghini spec, so it's just Lamborghinis.
Cool.
So what will be the broadcast? Who's going to be shown?
CBS Sports Network.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
And will that be delayed, shown?
It's usually a week later on a Wednesday night.
Okay, is it late or is it a reasonable time? Like we're not 3 o'clock in the morning or anything?
No, it's 8 o'clock at night. It's
Oh, nice.
prime time.
Okay, yeah, great. Cool. We'll be checking that.
Yeah.
If we don't make it to the track, we'll definitely check it out.
Check it out.
Right. Well, it's one of the only big sports car teams in this area. So.
Yeah.
Any of the drivers live nearby?
Brandon.
Oh, I know Brandon.
Right, obviously, Brandon. Brian Hickson drives our number 23 car. He's out of Texas. Todd Snyder is out of California. He's in our 42 car. And who am I forgetting? Oh, Dylan Murcott. He drove for us last year as well. He's out of New York.
So getting anybody local other than Brandon to come in and be on the show is like pulling teeth.
Well, not if you're a VIR.
Can
we do a remote show on Wednesday night?
It is entirely possible. We can do a remote call-in.
Yeah.
I've actually, one of the only times we ever don't do a show is like if a holiday falls on a Wednesday.
Right.
Or like a New Year's Eve falls on a Wednesday, we may or may not do it. The only time was like in 2012 when we went to Knoxville Nationals. And we did continuous shows from Knoxville Nationals.
Right.
The first time we went to do it, we were in the Hall of Fame doing this. First time we went to do it, we took down the whole Hall of Fame. Every cash register and computer in the building lost their internet because we sucked it all up. We just had to
be careful about that. Well, I do know VIR is kind of like the black hole for internet connectivity, so probably wouldn't be a good idea.
But it was fun. We had a lot of people on there. We just went ahead and did like we do here. We stream live. In that instance, we didn't stream live. We just went ahead and recorded. But while here, we stream live and record at the same time. So when we're done, I take and massage it a little bit and put it on YouTube so people can watch it.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Well, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have
Any last questions for her? Or we can always ask it later on.
Yeah, later on.
We'll ask the tough ones, after the cameras are off. Right?
Oh man!
So I like when I get. If I'd thought about it ahead of time, I should have gotten with Eric and say, "Give me some good stuff on Hal," or vice versa.
Right.
And like Lori, we were talking about, I should have given her a heads up and gotten something on poor Hal. But we sometimes do that, and we try to ask strange questions. Like, what would somebody have to do to you at an autograph session that you would remember them the next time?
You know what I remember? I don't know if we're still on or not.
Yeah, we're still on. We haven't gone over here and signed off yet.
I thought of this earlier because
the Periscope was off.
I was thinking about questions that I usually get asked, and you guys haven't asked one of the ones I always get asked. That's great.
Well, then we're slack.
I love that. No, but I was prepared because I started thinking about it.
And what would that question have been?
What do you think about Danica Patrick? Right, I get asked that question like a million times.
That would have been good.
That's Al's favorite question.
If Al was here, he probably would have asked you that.
Female drag racer.
Yeah, because we had Eileen Stafford and Alex. Oh, what was Alex's last name? Taylor? Alex Taylor. They're both drag racers. And he missed the first one, but made the second one.
He came in right in the middle of the second one.
There's some kick butt female drag racers out there.
Yes.
But anyway, one of the things that I remember is when little girls come up to me. That always impresses me. So that is one of the best things I think about Danica Patrick's presence in NASCAR.
Yeah. I have nothing against female drivers. I love to see them out there racing. I know several of them. I helped several of them. And we'll discuss that later, by the way. Like I said, there's some things. But I see nothing wrong with it at all. Some of the guys got beat by a girl. Well, guess what? If you did, you got beat by a better driver.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah.
And just like anybody else,
I think it's awesome because we did an hour and a half and nobody even brought that up. So that's because I think it's been talked to death and it's pretty much not worth talking about anymore because it's just drivers.
Yeah. When
that's a really good indicator right there.
Well, I think over time, so there's been so many, drivers out there working their way through. What's Evernham's wife? So it's been going on a long time now, and and there's you see more and more, and especially in the and so in the development series and so forth, and drag racing's full of female drivers, and I just don't think it's a big deal anymore. I don't think it stands out as much as it maybe used to.
Valerie Thompson, you know her? She's a female drag bike racer. She also has worked on speed records out at the Salt Flats.
Yeah.
And she was actually a GoDaddy. She was a GoDaddy girl before Danica was.
Yeah.
There's no way I would do that drag bike. No way.
I need 4 wheels.
I need a roll cage.
We need to get Spider-Man.
When it hits something would be nice. It
rides back out here.
Yeah.
We need to get
Spider-Man. Body of a car
out
around you or something would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one night at Langley Speedway, they had somebody, I know they had Spider-Man out there, they had somebody with a dragster one night, a rail dragster, and they couldn't stop in time and hit. hit the wall.
Is that right?
Wow.
Well, they just want to do a little burn the tires kind of thing. And
they got too much traction.
Not good.
But anywho, so what? I didn't get a chance to ask you. What did you think about the track at Langley?
You mean the new pavement or just Langley?
Both.
You
got yourself in that one.
Yeah, right. 'Cause I don't have enough time on that track to even really have very much input about the new pavement, right? Because I haven't been driving on the old pavement for long enough to care that there's new pavement there. Because you know, it's there now. So
that track has gone. That track has gone through so many changes with the pavement.
Right.
I mean, I used to race back in '90s out there in late models, and sponsored guys back into the '80s, and just watching how the track's gone along the way, and.
Well, I think it's a really nice facility. I mean, I've been in a lot of tracks up and down the East Coast, and some of them are really nice, and some of them are like, wow.
Yeah.
You know.
I do not know a driver yet.
Step back in time and pull down your belts really tight. So, but I mean, that's a really nice facility, and the track is very nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough track to learn to drive, though. I mean, and I feel like our team, setup wise, we kind of got 1 and 2 down Saturday.
Yeah. And
like I was saying earlier, to where I thought I was passing on the outside, I'm like, oh, I got this now. But 3 and 4 was more of a challenge for me. It's just that, you know, it's a tighter radius, and 3 was tough for me to get the right arc into.
You ever thought about going up to the spotters tower and just watching like the
I haven't, and I've done that at that track. I mean, I didn't do it last week. But there's something about, to me, what was really helpful Friday when we were testing was we looked at just different turn-in points and more about when to get on the gas, because it forces you to drive the corner so much differently, and just the angle of the car and letting the car take a step first and having somebody on the radio with you. Once you hit it right the first time, you're like, oh yeah, that's where I need to be. So, you know, the testing time, because it's so hard to do that on Saturday from 2 to 4 when you're practicing and it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And there's 16 other cars out there. But going out and getting some test time, which is where my plug for sponsor necessity comes in. We need the resources to be able to go out there and do that. You know, that's another set of tires and track rental. So
the biggest thing.
But that's where you take the big.
Something else to do too, and I don't know if you do this or not. I find going down into the turns and actually basically getting at the apex so that you can see the guys that are winning the races, what they're doing, where they're going in, listening to them, and what's happening as they go through it.
Well, you know, it was an eye-opener for me because they have the cone rule at Langley. And I took the cone one time, and I was able to drop down in behind, like, I don't know, the first 3 cars. And, you know, those are the cars you want to be behind, right? Because those guys are track champions, and they've got like 1 million laps at the track. So
watch what they do.
You go to school right there. So for me, like that was the whole benefit of taking the cone. So.
I must have been in the second race.
Cool.
No, it was the end of the first one. Yeah. No, the second race I came back on my own.
Oh.
Yeah.
I must have.
Without my door.
Oh, I know what it was. Partway through your race, I had to leave because I was spotting for one of the Grand Stock drivers.
Oh, okay.
I had to go over and get stuff from him and test it and then head up to the spotting tower.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of action in those 2 races, a lot more than we needed.
When you're on the receiving end, it's a lot more
well, just
needed.
in general, you know.
If you're up front, it's good because it's tearing up the competition.
Right, and I was talking to my spotter afterwards, had this whole conversation about how everything happens really fast in those races, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you would come on and tell me something, and it was already happening right in front of me, you know. So.
And I thought the door was a little harder to get to actually. Was it the driver's side door?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Passenger side has the.
Right.
Well, bar that comes out and all. So it'd be harder to get to the door there.
Well, both I have it on. It got knocked off. So.
Wow.
Drove it back in and ripped it off.
Okay.
If you need help with spotting sometime, let me know.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that was one of the good things about Saturday too. We had a good spotter. Super helpful.
Hey, I talked with him and he said I think it was his first time working with you.
Yeah. Yeah. He did a great job.
I tell you, it was hard because when I was doing the guy I was spotting for, I was trying to periscope for him too, the race, and you're trying to. It's such a. I know.
Hour and a half. That's.
And you're sitting here like this, and you're talking to him and trying to do this. And then what is cool is that the people when they're watching it get to hear the spotter when he's talking to the driver.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And you can get privy to some real interesting conversations.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and said, maybe I shouldn't have said that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go ahead and shut this stuff down and we continue the race talk
on camera.
Anyway, everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's show. We definitely did. And we'll catch everybody next week on Let's Talk Racing. See everybody then.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Colin, you're so quiet.
Yeah. He never says goodbye.
Oh, well.
I haven't been letting him talk much.
Au revoir, adieu.